Chris is sleeping and I'm just sitting around doing some maintenance on my rods and getting my fishing gear together. So today I'm taking a page out of Roger's playbook. I'm gonna fish my standard gold ribs hare's ear nymph and stillwater nymph on a floating line like I normally do. But I'm also going to fish my my sinking line. So I've got the same setup on intermediate sink line. Okay, so it's about 9:45, which admittedly is a little late to be getting out at this time of year in the Emigrant, but I'm having an allergic reaction to all those mosquito bites. Just feeling a little bit low-key, so took my time gearing up, and now I'm gonna check out this little dam over here. Well, there's a fish right there. Okay, so I saw this fish as I was going over to the dam and made a couple casts to it, and whoa. Okay, Crocs on granite, not a great idea. Anyway, he rejected it at first, and then I threw it out in a little deeper water. And then, oh, he took the stillwater nymph. I actually thought he took the other fly. It's a nice plump fish. First fish of the trip. Not bad, not even fishing for 3 minutes. That was cool. Just walking the bank, heading over. Oh, it's not a dam. It's just an outlet. Heading over to this outlet, spotted him, and yeah, first fish, so I'm happy. Well, that's quite the nice looking pool. Make some casts in there. I saw some other fish that were working out here. I'm not seeing any close to the, oh, no, yes I am. There's one right there. There's two. Okay, so maybe I'll fish this side first. You can see there's one right there. I missed that fish. They seem to be a little bit spooky, so I might take that bead head off and maybe, oh, there's another one. Maybe I'll put on a big black gnat. I got a bunch of follows, but as soon as I paused, they lost interest, so a little weird. I'm gonna try this pool down here, and then I'm gonna come back to these other fish with the dry fly. Threw about a half dozen casts in there and didn't see any fish, and didn't get any interest, so I'm coming back over here where I've seen fish. Okay, so I've thrown a bunch of dry flies at these fish, and they weren't interested in even looking up. They're sort of, just cruising about a foot below the surface, and they are spooky. I raise my rod or my line goes out, and they tend to spook. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing. They are cruising around. I'm not actually seeing them take anything though, so it's a little bizarre. Well, it's a mystery. They're obviously taking something right underneath the surface. Well, about a foot underneath the surface. Yeah, maybe if I sat there with an indicator, that might work. But even, I don't know. I just don't know. I tossed a bunch of stuff at them, and even a dry fly with a dropper just sort of sitting at their level, nothing. So I'm gonna go back to camp, see if Chris is up, and start heading around this lake. So it's almost 11, and we're about to break camp. We're gonna head to the bouldery side of the lake over there, and Chris says that we can get all the way around, so you know, that inlet and stuff, I'm sure that's going to be pretty good. But it's getting later in the day, so you got to figure that the fish are going to start moving into the deeper water. And it's going to be hot today. Come back over by the inlet. Strike! Oh! He took your fly.
Oh, he did? I didn't feel it at all.
Yeah, no. He's following. No. So we've come over to the outlet again, and the fish seem to be a little bit more active. So I've had 2 strikes and I've missed 2, but at least now they're striking, whereas, you know, I spent 30 minutes here and they were doing nothing. Well, definitely time to move, and definitely time to fish a little faster. I spent about 40 minutes fishing over active fish. I got about a half dozen hookups, landed 1 foul hooked fish, but you know, nothing really solid. It looks like they're taking midges or something, 8 to 12 inches in the water column. I've tried everything that I can do to, you know, to imitate an emerging midge. None of that's worked. Ironically, what has worked is my standard nymphs. So I guess I'm gonna keep fishing that because I keep hooking fish with that. But it doesn't feel like that's what they're really keying on. Interesting, there are a bunch of dead fish in this cove. I wonder if that was winter kill, or if maybe the water here is hot. Starting to make our way around the lake, looking for cruising fish. Okay, my 3rd fish in this little hole. Not huge, but I'll take it. We both got into, I don't know, probably about a dozen fish between us in pretty quick succession here. But they were all about the same size, like 7 to 9 inches. So I'm gonna keep moving, see if we can find some bigger fish. Okay, another rainbow. Caught him right on the inside of that rock. This is a little bit better. Still not as good as what we were seeing at our campsite, but better than what was over at that weed bed. I think that's a slightly better fish. If I can get him in. Oh, and he's off. So I've been casting out right in there. So we've fished this whole bank all the way down, and I'm casting into this deep water and consistently getting strikes. So I'm consistently getting into fish, but I think I'm going to move on just because I really want to try to get into some bigger fish. Well, it's 2 o'clock and the wind is starting to pick up. This whole bank, this section, and then that little cove in there, we're good for fish 8 and 10 inches. So it's still breezy, but I'm gonna see if I can pick up some fish along this rock here. Maybe this little alcove from the other side. Oh, there's a deer. Hello, Mr. Deer. Fancy meeting you here. Okay, I just picked up a small fish by that rock. He's off, but I know there's a bigger fish there. I saw it. So we're making our way to the marshy side of the lake. It's a little slow here in the middle. So we've made it to the far side of the lake. Look at that. Actually a good place to float to. Well, it's 3:30 and I'm about fished out. Caught a boatload of fish, nothing of any size, but yeah, I'm getting tired. See if Chris can catch anything. It's a good looking spot. This whole little cove is. And I'll probably dump a line right over here by these rocks. But I think unless I see a fish, I'm about done for today. So just as I say that, I throw my line in and I hook another fish here. Chris has had 2 grabs so far. He's slowed his nymphs down and he's fishing a little deeper. I think unless we see a big fish, we were done for the day. We're gonna head across this Tarney area. Hopefully we can pick up the main trail there pretty easily and make good time back to camp. So we intended to walk right through this, but some of this water looks too good to pass up. We're gonna definitely come back here tomorrow morning and see if there are any fish cruising around in these weed beds. I threw 3 casts in there, didn't get anything, and Chris is gonna give this a shot. It's the morning of our 3rd day, and I don't quite know what we're going to be doing. We're going to go up to that grassy area and see if maybe some big fish come in there in the mornings. But then after that, I'm not really sure. You know, I planned on 3 nights at Buck Lakes so we could fish the upper and the lower lakes. You know, we fished the upper. We're going to be spending 2 days at the upper. I don't think we're going to get down to the lower. Chris has fished the lower before. And it just sounds like it's not the greatest fishing lake. So yeah, I'm not sure. We're not going to be doing the 2 nights at Emigrant like we had planned. I woke up this morning and my knees are hurting, and that's really unusual for me. I took a fall yesterday, and that might be the reason. I'm not quite sure why. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens this afternoon. Last night was uneventful, pretty much the same as the night before, except it did get a little cooler. About 3:30, it dipped down to, I'm guessing, the high 30s. There are more mosquitoes out today than there were yesterday morning, which I really wish I knew at what temperature mosquitoes die, because I'd really like it to hit that temperature. The mosquitoes here are bad. I mean, I thought they were bad at Emigrant. I've always heard they were bad here, but yeah, this is probably the worst that I've ever encountered. Chris is using DEET. He doesn't seem to be having too much of a problem, but I'm using you know, the Pickardin stuff, and it doesn't really work that well. So I'm not feeling these mosquitoes. Yeah, so I think this might be an iffy day for me. Normally I have this thing where I have an allergic reaction to mosquito bites. If I get too many bites, I usually don't feel it until the afternoon, but I'm feeling it now. So it just kind of shuts down my lungs a little bit. I took some Benadryl last night, hoping it would make things better, but doesn't seem to be doing anything. So it's going to be an interesting day. Okay, we're heading out towards that large weed bed we saw. So we've come around to the far side of the lake again, and there's hardly any breeze. Mosquitoes are awful, but hopefully we'll find some cruising fish and some of this skinny water. And things we'll do for fish. be lying right now if I said I wasn't having a pretty severe reaction to these mosquitoes. So what I want to do is I want to come up here and really I want to sight fish. I want to see if there are any cruising fish in this grass. And if I can't find any cruising fish, then I'll do some prospecting. And frankly, with as bad as these mosquitoes are, I'm probably going to prospect sooner rather than later. Beyond ridiculous. So Chris and I talked, and we think we're gonna fish through here and then head up to Deer. Deer had fewer mosquitoes. There were more dragonflies out. We saw bigger fish there. So I think at this point in time, the best thing for us to do is probably to pack up camp and move our base. Somewhere over there is the pass to get to Emigrant Lake. I'm betting it's over there, but who knows? Okay, we're back on our side of the lake, and got this nice weed bed here. Going off into deep water, so I think I'll throw a few casts out this way, see what happens. Our camp is right over there. So Chris is into a fish. Okay, second fish of the day. First fish wasn't captured on film because iPhone. Okay, chill out, little guy. He took the hare's ear. Interesting. Chris is into another fish.
It's about the same as all the others.
Is it? Oh, there's a fish rising up there on the left. There you go. Cool. It's a nice little fish. So I'm back over by the outlet near our camp, and there's a bunch of fish that are cruising around. Well, I fished I fished at that outlet a little bit longer than I had planned. I got like 18 strikes, 2 solid hookups, and 0 landed fish. So, and one fish, I watched one fish take my fly 4 times and wasn't able to set up on him. So, all in all though, not a bad trip here. If you're looking for numbers, we caught plenty of fish yesterday. I would say yesterday between the 2 of us, we probably got into at least 20 fish. I think it's safe to say that we fished majority of this lake We haven't found any of the big fish that this lake is known for. What we have found is it's consistent for 7 to 9 inch fish. Okay, we're leaving Buck Lake for deer. I definitely would come back here, but I don't think I'd come back in the early season. You know, catching a ton of 7 to 9 inch fish is just not worth it to me. You know, if we caught like a half dozen 15 inch fish on top of that, sure, I'd come back in the early season, but you know, come back when the mosquitoes are not as bad and see how the fishing is then. We're making the hike back to Deer, and I tell you, it's not nearly as buggy as it was 2 days ago. Seeing a lot more dragonflies out, which I'm sure has a lot to do with it. It's much drier than it was 3 days ago. Okay, we're back at Deer. As I recall, this bank, and I don't remember if it was this lower section here or this upper section there, has pretty good fishing, has really good fishing. And I camped right over there last time. I don't know where we're gonna camp, although this is an option. We're walking around Deer, trying to find a decent place to camp. One thing about Deer is it is a crowded lake. I mean, there are probably, I'm gonna guess that there's probably a dozen people already here. I think we've seen 6. We just went all around the lake looking for a camping spot. Haven't really found anything that great. We ended up at where I was once before, and I lost my bug net. I took it off and I was tired. Instead of doing the right thing and putting it in its proper place, I just wrapped it around the chest strap of my pack, and of course it fell off. So I know, seems a little crazy going and looking for a bug net, but it's an old net, and all the newer nets that I found, they're too tightly woven, you can't see through them. Hot dog, I found it. I dropped it right where I thought it would be. So really happy about that, because you can't find them like this anymore. Okay, it's 5 o'clock, and it took us about 2.5 hours to find a decent camping spot, but we found one. It's even got a fire pit, fewer bugs, little wind. So we're just hanging out at camp. Nothing eventful happening. We could have fished, I guess, but after all that hiking and searching, and after all the fishing that we had this morning, I don't need to fish today. I can wait until tomorrow. There is one stream, and I don't know if I don't think I filmed it. Maybe I did. There's a stream that we've seen that has some good sized fish in it. It has fewer good sized fish in it today than it did 3 days ago. And we saw 3 fishermen going over there like 30 minutes ago. So it'll probably have fewer good sized fish in it tomorrow. It's a stream that's created from runoff from Long Lake, I think it is. But the stream is lower than it was when we came through 3 days ago. So, you know, it's going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But that's the only stream flowing into Deer Lake that we've seen that actually is holding fish right now.
So thus ends day 3. It was a good day. We had some decent fishing in the morning, and we made the hike up here to Deer with little incident. Bugs are a lot better here, a lot better. And I lost and I found my bug net. So everything worked out today. Tomorrow we'll spend the day fishing deer, and then spend the night here, and then get up the next morning and hike out.